This extreme close-up of the moon captures an unknown object floating at what appears to be mere meters over the celestial body. Alexi_N shares this mysterious footage with the YouTube community. Can you guess what it is? In fact, it looks like something drifts down toward the moon from the floating object. Folks in the comments have some wild theories. Are extraterrestrials refueling on the moon, as some suggest? It's possible, but I think it could also be the International Space Station. Although the ISS is only 250 miles from the Earth, while the moon is 230,000 miles. In photographs, the ISS often looks much closer to the moon than it actually is. But even if it is the ISS, that doesn't really explain the object that appears to be traveling toward the moon from it. Additionally, the uploader has CGI videos on their channel. This one isn't marked as such, but there is still the possibility this is special effects. Share what you think in the comments. I'm torn on this one. Iljin Pudding of the South Korean YouTube channel Ghost Horror Diary has a creepy video with an important message. Iljin wants to prove that ghost hunting is not a men's-only activity and that she can be just as brave. She goes exploring an abandoned building all by herself, a haunted place where paranormal energy pours forth from the entrance. Now, this lone ghost hunter starts to catch some very interesting things on video.
여잔데?
Next, she captures this. A scary smiling ghost face makes her recoil in horror.
항상 찍히는 문에서 많이 찍히더라고. 근데 오늘은 안 찍히는 게 맞나 봐. 해당된다고? 야, 일로 와봐. 뭐야?
She presses on down a hidden hallway teeming with paranormal energy, and at the top of some stairs is a really weird painting that she zooms in on. Something about this place, the painting, the room, feels haunted.
이게 이상한데요.
No more than this, she says, and walks back down. I would like to know more about this painting if anybody happens to recognize it, or anything about the scene it's portraying. It looks like somebody in knight's armor is raising a shield in the air at a podium with someone kneeling behind them, but that's all I can tell. Oh, and there's one more thing that's scary. On the floor of another room is a handwritten sign with this message that freaks her out. Who left it here and what does it say?
아니, 이거 한글 맞아요?
I want to know what you think about this interesting paranormal video posted by Darkalooz. First, two pieces of his overhead vent fall off, but when it happens, the camera freezes. So is this an electronic interference from spirits, or is it poor editing? Next, this chair turns all by itself. It's by a window and behind a table, and therefore far out of reach. Perhaps eeriest of all are these two legs with no upper reflection. You would logically assume this is Darkalooz recording, but if it was, as one commenter points out, then where is the rest of him? It's well documented that creatures in the deep ocean are mysterious and terrifying, but will not often cross paths with such creatures due to the depths they inhabit. However, rarely do we imagine what the muddy waters of our rivers are hiding. Published by Kiwi TV on YouTube in April of 2016, this river in China is hiding something frightening. Marine life that looks partly hippo, partly dolphin, partly crocodile, and wholly terrifying was caught on camera while being poked and prodded by a garden tool. The large river-dwelling creature doesn't move much while being examined, nor does it appear to see much, as it seems not to have eyes. An anonymous YouTuber suggests it's a type of river dolphin. However, it doesn't look much like the baji, a river dolphin that was believed to have gone extinct in the early 2000s. While that sighting was not altogether confirmed, this additional footage may suggest the aquatic mammal is, in fact, alive, though the population has been shrinking since the 80s. The baji appear to have a longer and narrower bill, while this strange one caught in this video features a wider bill, no eyes, and lots of body splotches and patches. Is this a deformed baji? If not the baji, what other type of aquatic creature might this be? Franco TV is one of the few ghost hunters I've come across who isn't afraid to investigate solo. In fact, he prefers it. Charging into the middle of the action and staying put is his style. Rarely does he run. On September 7th, 2018, Franco TV goes to an abandoned house that's way out in the Florida forest. I can't tell you the exact location, but I can tell you the name, the Edison House. What's inside leaves him a sweat-soaked mess. The address is so secret that he had to track down some of the previous owners to find it, and since no one can stand living here for more than a few months, there were plenty of previous owners to choose from. It was accidentally built over a gravesite according to them, and that's all they will say because it's so cursed that just talking about it could possibly bring about years of misfortune. None of this concerns Franco enough to keep him from going inside. Through the condemned door is a trashed interior that fills the investigator with the type of dread that burns stronger with every step. Everything about it feels off and wrong in a way he can't explain.
So weird.
Past a crumbling kitchen is a small kid's room that feels colder than the rest of the house. And as he's reading but not adhering to the simple instructions on the wall,
Get out.
he hears the giggle of a child. The laughter comes from behind him, practically in his ear, and he turns against a wall with a mysterious red stain that looks like it's squirted out of someone's neck. Across from him, this witch-like face appears against the window. It's most visible at approximately 3 minutes and 12 seconds, eyes and all. Undeterred, he goes to where it was standing and looks inside the room he was just in. As he's doing this, the same face now regards him through a crack in the doorway at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. It doesn't look like it's part of the door, but I guess it could be. The upstairs is cramped and uncomfortably hot. Down the hall is a red handprint that could belong to a child, except it's too high up on the wall. Perhaps they were struggling with someone, trying not to be carried into this room. As Franco stares into the room, dozens of comments point out this figure staring back out at him from within the closet, just like the far wall says. I couldn't really see anything at first, but when I did, I suddenly wished I didn't try so hard. Something's there. Franco doesn't spend much time in this room because he gets an especially bad feeling, but one thing I noticed was this jet black spirit orb float up towards him and disappear. That's not a bug. The anxiety he gets from the second floor is a little too much, even for him, and look what happens when he goes back downstairs.
I'm hearing all sorts of noises everywhere, and I don't have no cover at all, and I'm in the middle of the forest. So, that's kind of like one of the reasons why it's going to be a little bit weird for me, because I can't deal with that.
This just so happens to be one of the only times he films behind him, so maybe this part is set up. Anyway, this was back when a supernatural challenge called Charlie Charlie was popular, and so he decides to play around before calling it quits. He sets up 2 pencils and waits for the ghost to respond.
Is there anyone in this house right now? Is there anyone that's
I don't know about you, but I see no string.
Do you wish me to leave this area?
A closer look under the light at 9 minutes and 17 seconds shows that nothing is tied around the pencil at all. He follows its advice and goes outside. By now, Franco is soaked in sweat and still hearing movements that I don't think he's making up because they sound too far away, deeper in the forest.
And from there, from there, I'm gonna head home. After that, I'm done. I gotta get out of here.
Part of him wants to leave, but he knows he has to explore the surrounding property because it's where more spirits roam around their unmarked graves. While staring out into the wilderness, he hears them.
What the is that?
It's not traffic because there's no roads out here, and exactly 2 seconds later it's accompanied by a voice warning him never to return.
Holy
Advice that Franco TV decides to take as he walks away from the Edison house with the blank, horrified stare of a man who has been shown far too much. Knock knock, who's there? Published by C's Crazy Crossroads in March of 2022. C is exploring a random creepy house in the woods that looks like it's abandoned, but is it? Chris and Joe first hear this ruckus coming from another room. He says the drain cover moved.
This freaking thing just moved. A drain, like, cover thing.
Later, as he's capturing footage of walls that have been punched in and the wallpaper torn off, his camera light keeps shutting off despite having good battery life.
If I could get my light going again. Alright, there's still battery life on my light and it keeps shutting off in here for some reason. Yep, this light on top.
He then hears something break, and then his light goes out again. Is something unpleasantly paranormal lingering here? Unseen. It seems like Chris and Joe got out just in time.
Let's say 36 or... That was weird. And the light went out. Alright.
A photographer is under a bridge when he records what he calls a strange creature. Confused, he goes over to the spot and the mysterious figure is nowhere to be found. This supposedly unexplained sighting looks pretty good at first and had some people freaking out. With that said, once zoomed in, this video appears to be an up-close encounter of the CGI kind, because the creature's feet hardly seem to touch the ground as it walks. Though if this was real, and you saw it, what do you think you would do? In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright. A hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. Zayneo barely manages to turn his live stream on and say hello before something unexplainably paranormal happens behind him.
Just adjusting.
The window somehow goes from being tightly shut to wide open in less than 10 seconds without a sound. If I'm not mistaken, this type of window doesn't even open from the outside, meaning that somebody had to be standing in the room to even push it open. Zayneo quickly searches his house in less than a minute and finds no one else is home, but when he crosses into the living room, the batteries in his smoke alarm go off for no reason at all. I know this part is real because this is the first time you hear the smoke alarm beep in the entire video.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Smoke alarm malfunction?
The smoke alarm going off, combined with the window opening by itself, is enough to convince me that this is probably paranormal. A man finds himself trapped on the 30th floor of the Shinjuku Center building in Tokyo after the entire city was rocked by a 9.1 quake. Now nowhere is safe and there is nothing left to do except to record as doors and cabinets swing open uncontrollably and the entire building shakes.
오! 아브네! 맞지 아브네! 맞지 아브네!
Everything grows eerily silent, and then this voice cuts through the speakers. There is a lot of frantic chatter in the background, so I think it was a live broadcast, not a recording. Try and translate if you can, because if you were there, your life may have very well have depended on following these instructions.
こちらは防災センターです。ただいま大きな地震を感じました。この建物は地震に対して安全な設計になっております。
After a while, the speakers turn off, and the guest hopelessly watches as the buildings sway like trees. It's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about, because the building he's in is shaking too. This second video, taken near the top floor of the Shinjuku Center building, shows how bad the shaking really was. The buildings look like they are going to topple at any moment, but they are actually designed to be incredibly flexible and can withstand intense vibrations. Keep in mind that these are just the smaller aftershocks, and not the actual quake itself, which was, believe it or not, much worse. If you ever crept through cemeteries looking for ghosts, then you might regret finding them. This video was posted in March of 2012 saying, "Been taking video of local cemeteries for a while and examining them from frame to frame. Found the image of what looks like the ghost of a young boy from around the early 1900s by the way he is dressed. The video was filmed in Kinder Cemetery, and as the sign reads, the cemetery was established in 1902, so plenty of time for ghosts to lay down their claim." As the camera pans the cemetery, you can see a short-lived flash of light near a grave. Can you spot it? While some in the comments of this video doubt that it was anything more than a flash, others like YouTuber Dang Cho claim to see hair sticking out of the red circle. YouTuber Yvette Sanchez notes that it is an apparition. Of course, the ghost is not going to be easy to spot, but if you look hard enough, you can see something is there. While you can certainly see a flash, it's a bit of a stretch to say the ghost is of a young boy from the early 1900s in my opinion. You can't really make out anything more than the light. But what is that glow? Is it the young spirit shining? Or is it just a trick of the light? A YouTube channel called Good Cemeteries Gone Bad captures this scraggly sighting in broad daylight while investigating the Anclote Cemetery in Florida. They wanted to know if this was a spider web or a spirit, and I know that different spiders make different looking webs, but I have to say this looks like no spider web that I have ever seen before around where I live. Plus, look at the way it simply disappears upon hitting the light. That's not normal. So if you live in Florida, please let us know if this looks like any of the webs in your area, because I'm inclined to say that this is the paranormal at work. Fisherman's Chronicles gets a catch while kayaking in the San Francisco Bay, but you'll never guess what he's caught on camera, or rather, what's caught him.
Oh my, that's a fish on. That's a fish on. Oh my, this is a big fish on. I got a big fish on. Oh, this is a halibut. It's for sure a keeper.
He thinks he's hooked a halibut, but it's much worse than that. A stingray. Its whipping tail is like a serrated needle that will mess you up in seconds flat. He has to get the hook out of its mouth fast while avoiding the tail.
Wow, got a good view of that. This guy's trying to sting me.
Nothing new for him. He's caught hundreds of them before, but I guess everyone can make a mistake. The tail connects and a barbed wire feeling races up his arm. Now he has to get the hook out with the ray in his lap, and he's lucky it doesn't take a chunk out of his thigh here at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. They do have razor sharp teeth. He gets to a hospital as fast as he can, and this is the end result.
Well, I had to row like half a mile back to the kayak launch with a stingray tail like sticking out of my arm.
It's healed up nicely since, and he doesn't have any nerve damage to speak of, but it's not something I would ever want to go through, and I hope he never does again. He's lucky it wasn't higher up and nicked an artery. Also, I just wanted to commend him for not getting angry at the stingray for defending itself. He focuses on getting the hook out of the stingray first before getting help for himself.
I still want to release this guy as fast as possible.
I think everyone's first instinct is to throw it back into the water, so this must have taken an incredible amount of self-restraint. A YouTuber named Breaking the Shell goes exploring a 150-year-old home in search of the paranormal, and the paranormal is what they find. Shadow figures and footsteps have been reported by previous ghost hunters. But that's nothing compared to the paranormal evidence you're about to see. They're not even exploring inside of the house yet, and the investigation is already getting spooky. At 40 seconds, a mysterious, possibly paranormal white light appears in the window of the room above them. And before you say that their light is hitting a mirror or something, explain how at 45 seconds the light seemingly gets even brighter when the ghost hunter faces the opposite way. One of the things they notice is a bricked up fireplace where someone seems to have busted out, along with a door that has a padlock. There's another doorway with firewood in front of it that's been boarded up and painted over. I feel like somebody could have been kept in here against their will.
That's weird.
After exploring the house some more, they think they hear footsteps, like other ghost hunters have reported, and I think it might be happening over them in the room where the mysterious light was.
Like it walked past that window like some people.
They go outside, and at 23 minutes and 7 seconds, their camera gets blurry, like it's trying to focus on a ghost nearby. Then we see the weird, mystifying light again, in front of them this time, and there's nothing but darkness, so I don't think it's light from their camera caught on tape.
No joke, I saw a lot right there.
But here's the creepiest paranormal evidence of all. At 13 minutes, while exploring the top floor, they see this blue blanket. It looks flat at first, but the more you look at it, the more it looks like the ghostly form of a child seems to appear under the blanket.
Holy cow, this is terrifying.
Now this has to be paranormal. This YouTuber is exploring a cave in an undisclosed location when he sees something that freezes him in place. He steadies the camera and slowly zooms into the darkness. Staring back at him are two white eyes that are large and spaced far apart, signifying a large creature with a well-developed brow. The timing of his reaction seems very real and not staged. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I did think that this video was fake at first because the name of the channel is Pro Films, but then I realized it just means he was recording with a GoPro. Also, this is the only video on the channel and it's from 2016. I'm just saying that if this was a fake channel, then there would probably be more videos similar to this one, but there's nothing else. These explorers are checking out a haunted church in Britain called St. Botolph's Church, which is said to be guarded by the spirit of a passed away monk. The weather is fine at first, but within a minute of stepping out of the car, it becomes cloudy and gray, as if to signify they do not belong here. Here at 2 minutes and 34 seconds, you can see everyone standing outside as they peruse the cemetery, and it isn't until 2 minutes and 47 seconds that they go inside. With this in mind, tell me how they record this shadow figure walk across the church at 2 minutes and 22 seconds, a full 20 seconds before any of them enter. When inanimate objects start taking life around your home, maybe your house is cursed a la Beauty and the Beast, or maybe it's haunted by a poltergeist. Posted to YouTube by Horrifying Nightmares in January of 2013, the YouTuber explains, "Last week we captured footage of a bull scooting across the table. Some said it was a string, but this time the bull flew into the air, cups scooted across the table, and the entire table shook." Noting that the video speaks for itself, let's see if it does. The video shows a little boy playing at a table. In front of him is a red bowl with something inside. The boy plays for a time without incident, but the minute he walks away from the table, the bowl slides on its own to the left. In a later clip, the same red bowl flies from the table, another blue bowl and green cup slide across it, then the table jumps up, shaken by the paranormal. Would you be interested in eating at this poltergeist table? I think I'm gonna pass. Jinn are intelligent spirits from Arabian mythology that have the mysterious ability to possess humans. And according to this video, they take that mysterious ability to the next level, which is apparently ninja based. Published to YouTube by Deranged Sajib in September of 2020, the scary possession has this man's limbs into something like a crab.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. Aku datang ngeplay ke?
The man is captured on video doing a creepy crab walk backwards and forwards across the floor as a holy man stands over him, attempting to exorcise him of the jinn. The man keeps low to the ground, smacking his palms to the floor with his fingers bent upwards. He speaks to the holy man in a haunting, possessed rasp.
Bisa kan? Kenapa? Saya. Kenapa? Oh, 2 tahunan. Sebelum di sini di mana kamu adanya?
Although the clip cuts out before we can see whether the man was freed of his possession, many in the comments note that the spirit who possessed him seemed like a ninja jinn.
Oh, berarti kalau kayak gitu kamu jahat. Kamu berurusan sama saya kalau jahat. Hah? Sekarang jadi urusan saya.
Well, I don't know about that. If it was the case though, the man is acquiring these skills, even if only via a spirit taking over his body. A scary and mysterious possible ghost sighting is caught on camera by a YouTuber in India named Moonbiker Nikhil. This creepy incident was caught on tape while passing through RA Colony, which he says has a pretty scandalous reputation to the point where everyone knows not to be walking by themselves at night near there. That's why he was surprised when this happened late at night. A mysterious figure on the road seems to clip through his mirror. Watch closely and you'll see that they should have made contact in his opinion, and I agree that it's awfully close. Tell me what you see, and more importantly, if this alleged ghost really has a missing head. On a trip to Thailand, YouTuber D-Doc Michael skipped the beaches and instead spent his holiday exploring this intensely haunted house. Upon entering, he hears whispers. He continues his exploration but is scared off by another voice.
어이 씨발 깜짝이야 누구야?
Still, he stays. As his search goes on, he hears another noise.
누구세요? Who are you?
And at last, he sees what's making it. The stranger in the abandoned place is ready to throw down.
Who are you? Hey!
Michael runs off, thankfully escaping unharmed. To me, this just goes to show that live humans are often scarier than spirits. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.